Joining us now to analyze today's headlines is Rahul Mahajan. He's a sociologist and news analyst and author of Full Spectrum Dominance, U.S. Power in Iraq and Beyond. Hi, Rahul.
Hi, Sonali.
Tens of thousands of people gathered over the weekend in Selma, Alabama, exactly 50 years after the Selma March. In March 1965, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led 600 civil rights activists across the Edmund Pettus Bridge when they were brutally beaten by police in an action that led to the passage of the Voting Rights Act. President Obama gave a rousing speech on Saturday where he referenced the Justice Department's recent Ferguson report and said, quote, "Selma teaches us that action requires that we shed our cynicism. For when it comes to the pursuit of justice, we can afford neither complacency nor despair." The theme of Black Lives Matter resonated throughout the march. Attorney General Eric Holder also spoke yesterday, warning of the real legal threats to the Voting Rights Act from conservatives. Republicans were conspicuously absent from the 50th commemorations of the Selma March. Rahul, what do you make of what President Obama said on Saturday and also of the Republican absence?
Well, I mean, I think that the Republican absence says actually something about the Republican Party rather than about mainstream opinion in the United States right now. It says that the Republican Party on the question of civil rights has been trying to detach itself from the mainstream consensus, which has basically retroactively ratified most, if not all, of the actions of the civil rights marchers and, of course, the issue itself. So, you know, I think that here this is a case where the vast majority of people would say, yes, this is a great milestone and this was a great thing, and just the Republican Party mostly demurs, largely because of their lunatic right-wing fringe. It is a shame, however, that even though it's become so mainstreamed, it is not connected to other instances of protest in favor of rights of various kinds. I mean, Obama connects them and says, we're the Selma Marchers, we're the people who put the flag on Iwo Jima, we're Jackie Robinson. He never says, we're also Occupy Wall Street.
And we'll be covering the Selma March on tomorrow's edition of Uprising. Activists uniting under the banner of Black Lives Matter have protested for 3 straight days after yet another police shooting of an unarmed black man, this time in Madison, Wisconsin. 19-year-old Tony Robinson Jr. was killed by a white officer named Matt Kenny inside an apartment late last week. Kenny was involved in a fatal shooting once before in 2007. That time, he was exonerated and received a commendation. This time round, he's been placed on administrative leave, while Madison Police Chief Mike Koval is attempting to mollify an angered community and the family members of the victim. Koval has trotted out the familiar claim that the unarmed 19-year-old attacked the armed officer before he was shot to death. Rahul, do you think that we're seeing some semblance of defensive posturing by police because of the relentless activism of the Black Lives Matter movement, that, if it weren't for this movement, a shooting like this might just have been swept under the rug and the officer commended?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important single thing about the Black Lives Matter movement is that it's made essentially every police shooting, especially every police shooting of an unarmed person, and of course, especially a police shooting of an unarmed black person, into a national news event. And as a Madisonian, it's interesting to note the contrast between the sort of, I would characterize it as relatively anemic mobilization over the recent passage of right to work in Wisconsin versus the immediate and fairly powerful mobilization over the killing of Tony Robinson.
And finally, a number of major international foundations, including the Bill, Hillary and Chelsea Clinton Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, have released a report this morning on the status of women and girls around the world. The report, entitled No Ceilings, is an ongoing assessment of the rights of women since a groundbreaking United Nations conference in 1995. While some major markers of women's well-being, such as lifespan, maternal mortality, and access to education have improved, the report found that many challenges remain. Likely presidential candidate Hillary Clinton has been especially prominent in promoting the report. Rahul, what do you make of this report, and particularly its source, the foundations that put it together?
Well, when a report comes out like this, it's already set up so that no decent person can really criticize it in a generic sense. Of course, it's very hard unless you happen to, in fact, be a Republican politician to say that you're opposed to gender equality or the promotion of the rights of women around the world, but especially in the global South, where they face so many different challenges. So, you can quibble about, for example, the mix of free market and governmental solutions proposed, but basically people have already put themselves on the side of the angels by simply doing a report like this. And when we talk about the sources of this, I would characterize them differently. With the Clinton Foundation, it's really impossible for me to look at any of the seemingly good programs they do, although it's very hard to know what the actual execution is, without thinking of the contrast between those and what Bill Clinton did in office, most strikingly with the Clinton's health initiative, where in recent years he has worked on access to the very AIDS drugs that his administration was trying to keep from poor Africans in the late 90s. I mean, that's one where the administration picked a fight with the world over AIDS drugs in order to benefit pharmaceutical companies. Then they lost, and now Clinton has remade himself as a great benefactor of AIDS patients. So,
right.
And it's also, the Clinton Foundation is business for Bill Clinton. Yes, he raises money for these causes, but he's also raised well over $100 million for himself since he left office.
Well, I want to thank you as always, Rahul, for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
See you then.
Rahul Mahajan is a sociologist and news analyst, author of Full Spectrum Dominance. This is Uprising. We'll be right back.